All right. We are live. UFC 262. We're going to recap the weigh-ins, talk about the matchups, and we'll also talk about maybe some pick changes, maybe not some pick changes. We saw some interesting things. Only one fighter missed weight, Rogerio Bontorin, somebody who earlier in the week we talked about having some confidence in him. We'll talk more about that as we get up to this fight. We'll start it all the way from the bottom, work our way all the way up to that main event. So make sure you guys smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new here. Goal for this video, we are going for 85 likes on this weigh-in recap. So smash the likes if you have not already. We'll start it up from top or from bottom all the way to top. Leave a comment. Talk in the live chat. I'll be answering the live chat as best I can throughout this entire stream. So without further ado, let's start it off. First fight of the night. Let's talk about it. And let's talk about it once again. Sean Soriano and Christos Giagos. Very excited to see how Soriano looks after the time away from the UFC. Training alongside Michael Chandler is something that I will consider as a high value attribute for Soriano here. I mean, the guy was always known as a pretty good striker, but I mean, has definitely probably improved tenfold since being around high-level minds like Michael Chandler, great fighter, the whole Sanford MMA team. He has a modified Thai style and is very fast with his combination punches. I mean, he has 7 wins by knockout on the record. That's half of his wins are KOs. Definitely have to respect the power and the finishing ability on the feet of Sean Soriano. But on the other side, Christos Giagos is by no means a bad striker. He's decent with his stand-up, has pretty decent takedowns that he sets up well with his overhand. He likes to set up that overhand double leg combo and get his opponents to the ground from there. He's definitely persistent with the wrestling, and he has really good pressure, and his control from the top position is definitely a factor in this fight here. He'll definitely look for ground and pound when he does get to the top. I feel like we're going to see Soriano on his back in bad positions, and I feel like Christos Giagos, even after seeing the weigh-in, seeing them face off, I have Giagos winning the fight. I like how he looks. I like the stylistic matchup. I think Christos Giagos wins this fight by a unanimous decision. I like the idea of maybe a potential bet on him if the odds are not extremely widespread. Let's see where they're sitting at. -192. So money has come down on Soriano on some of the betting sites. I don't necessarily love the Giagos straight up bet. At -225, if you can find it, it's okay, I would say. It's not the best, but it could deliver. It's high likelihood, in my opinion, of a Giagos grinding unanimous decision win. That's what I see as highly likely in this fight. But do I love the idea of betting Giagos? No, I actually personally don't, because I do acknowledge Soriano, proven finisher, has the power in his hands and overall high-level Muay Thai skills, and Michael Chandler speaks highly of him. Still riding Giagos. If I'm going to bet Giagos, maybe you bet him straight at whatever minus money you get. Do I also maybe play a Giagos decision? Do I lean that way? I'll be honest. Still deciding on this one. I feel as though Giagos has a high likelihood of winning by a decision, but to throw down at +125 and then for him to maybe get a submission or another means to victory here, the secondary result, I guess, that I would like is maybe a Giagos submission. But I feel like he also will go for ground and pound and look to finish the fight on the floor with his punches. So maybe a TKO. Personally, not loving the props on this fight. Personally, maybe you want to sprinkle Soriano KO, because I think that's his means to victory, is knockout. I see Giagos probably working towards a decision. I think fight goes to decision, -170. It's okay, but again, don't love the bet. I like Giagos. I think he wins this fight by a decision. Maybe you play him straight, or maybe you add him to a parlay, but not loving the props on this first fight of the night. Unfortunately, I don't have a weigh-in face-off for you guys. If you guys haven't seen the weigh-ins and you do want me to pull one up, I could probably find one quickly on Google here. You know what? Just out of curiosity, I'll see how easy it is to find. And if we can, let's play it off that, because I don't know if you guys were here, maybe, what was it, 2 weeks ago? We tried to use MMA Junkie's site, and man, that caused a lot of lag. Let's see if they have the weigh-in. Do they have a face-off? Okay, yeah, they do have some face-offs here. It's from MMA Junkie, of course. You can see them facing off. Let's see if I'm blocking the screen. You see them there facing off. I mean, I think Giagos is in incredible shape. Look at the frame. Granted, from the front, it's not that Soriano looks bad. I got Giagos winning the fight. If you guys want me to bring up face-offs for certain bouts, let me know. And be honest, I just don't love the look of searching it up. But if you're interested in that, I will do so. Just let me know in that live chat. But if not, we will go through each fight still, detailed prediction, and we'll dive the betting odds as well, because there's definitely some plays to make here. 145 pounds, this matchup. Tucker Lutz versus Kevin, the Angel of Death, Aguilar. I feel like since coming to the UFC, Aguilar hasn't had great performances and has looked okay at best, I would say. He's a scrappy striker with really aggressive boxing attack. It worked extremely well for him outside of the UFC, just losing one fight outside of the UFC. He looks to close distance with the straight punches, but at times does get a bit stiff and square, and he's not the fastest. And he's fighting now at 145, dropping from 155. This is a faster weight class. You need to be extremely quick in this weight class here. Lutz on the other side, nasty low kicks with dangerous power in them. I mean, he chops down the legs. Solid kickboxing skill set, and definitely likes to come forward with the punches. And he is pretty good with the straight. I like the way he throws that straight right hand. Has a bit of pop behind it. Could definitely do some damage here against the stiffer and more hittable Aguilar. Decent wrestling as well, and very physically strong is Tucker Lutz. For me, in this matchup, I like Tucker Lutz to win this fight. I could see a TKO here over Aguilar, but Aguilar's not an easy guy to put away. Just finished in the UFC the one time. That was against Zubaira Tukhugov. He got caught. He got put out. We thought he was maybe a shot fighter. He came back, and he did lose to Charles Rosa by a decision. Granted, losing to Rosa is not the best for your stock in this day and age. I have Tucker Lutz winning this fight. I think he wins this fight by a unanimous decision. I don't think he gets Aguilar out of there. I think the likelihood of that definitely lower at the minus, like very close money. I think a bet on Tucker Lutz straight up is fantastic at minus 111. There's pick'em's odds for this fight. He's superior, I feel, to Kevin Aguilar, and I just feel like Aguilar has proven deficiencies that Tucker Lutz definitely sees as well. If I'm seeing them from the outside, obviously his camp is doing their research and seeing them also. I see Tucker Lutz working towards a win here, and he wins probably a hard-fought decision, because Aguilar is definitely game. If I have to throw down a prop bet, maybe we throw down Lutz by a decision. Let's see what that's sitting at. Lutz wins by decision. Plus 200. Not the best prop. Another one, I don't love the prop. I love the straight up bet much more. I would rather bet Tucker Lutz. I'll play Tucker Lutz on a parlay. I like Tucker Lutz to win this fight over Kevin Aguilar. I think Aguilar, of course, will have a puncher's chance here. Not a terrible fighter by any means, but too stiff for my liking here. And I think Lutz, the momentum, 2 decent wins on the Contender Series, and both decisions. He's a guy that wins a lot of decisions. I see decision win over Kevin Aguilar here. The 26-year-old prospect, Tucker Lutz, gets it done. Let's get to the next fight of this card. Gina Mazany and Priscilla Cachoeira. I really like this fight. I think that Gina Mazany is decent. And I said this earlier on in the week. I've never been super impressed by her, and that's not that she's not a good fighter. I mean, she's good. Look at the win here. Rachel Ostovich. Quick loss to Julia Avila. Win outside of the UFC. She was released at one point from the UFC. Now, granted, Priscilla on the other side has not had a great run in the UFC either. Destroyed against Shevchenko. Loses to Molly McCann. And also loses to Luana Carolina. Carolina at least got a win the other week. So, I mean, not a terrible loss maybe at this point. Beat Shayna Dobson by a knockout. But Shayna Dobson had a losing record, after that point. When these two match up against one another, I believe it will be very competitive and maybe lean the way of Mazany for the first round. She's a southpaw, definitely has an interesting stance, tons of movement to her game, and I do feel like she does have some legitimate physical strength as well. I feel like, though, on the other side, Cachoeira, very aggressive striker, is going to come to fight. I think she's going to have the gas tank to go the 3 and be active and a very aggressive for these 3 rounds. If you look at Gina Mazany, I've seen a bit of gassing, maybe towards a round and a half, not necessarily substantial enough to cause her defeat against Rachel Ostovich, but this is a very different matchup. This is a step up in competition. I think Priscilla Cachoeira can win this fight. I think I'm going to pick knockout for Cachoeira. Could also see a decision, but I feel like there's a chance we see a knockout win for Priscilla in this fight. She'll keep coming, continue to pressure forward on Gina, even if Gina does probably get the better of her for the first round and a half, even 2 rounds. I could see Cachoeira coming on late. She's going to be in this fight for all 3 rounds. Mazany would win by a decision if I was riding with her, but I think Cachoeira can get a TKO here over Gina Mazany. Not going to absolutely throw the house on it, but maybe it's something to consider. Dog pickup with Priscilla Cachoeira here. And at the end of the day, Mazany is not extremely proven at this point, and if she goes and runs through Cachoeira, it's definitely a step in the right direction. But for me, as of right now, I like Cachoeira to win this fight. Knockout plus 675, or excuse me, plus 665. Might be valued to sprinkle. If you like Mazany on the other side, though, we'll still give you a prop for her. Plus 120 to win a decision. Mazany's expected to win this fight. Moderate favorite at minus 200. I think throw a little sprinkle maybe on the dog in this one, Priscilla Cachoeira, because she's a live dog and she comes to fight, and I feel like she could beat Gina Mazany in this matchup, and I'm going to ride with Priscilla Cachoeira to do so. And at the weigh-ins too, I think it's the right pick. I think that the underdog is going to come through. Next fight, another women's bout. If you have not yet, guys, smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe as well. Covering all things MMA. And right now, we're talking about UFC 262. Weigh-in recap and the full card predictions and betting breakdown. Andrea Lee, Antonia Shevchenko. Good fight between these two gals here. Andrea Lee, 3 straight losses. You look at the losses, I thought, honestly, Andrea Lee would have a legit chance to turn that career around, but Roxanne Modafferi had her way with her. And I'm not necessarily trying to knock Roxanne, but you lose to Roxanne, you're probably not towards the title shot at this point. Because I'm not saying Roxanne isn't good. She's definitely a top-line gatekeeper. But Andrea Lee, I think, is going to be in a bit of trouble with Antonia Shevchenko, who's very good with her Muay Thai, has shown improvements with her grappling, especially that last fight, put on a beating against Ariane Lipski. Not saying Ariane Lipski is necessarily as high level as Andrea Lee. No, she's not. But the performance was excellent by Shevchenko. She has championship level Muay Thai skills, has developing grappling game. Her sister is the best to do it at 125 pounds. I think Antonina Shevchenko, I think she works towards a victory over Andrea Lee by a decision. Andrea Lee, not a girl to ever disappoint as far as entertainment value. She comes to fight. She likes to mix it up. She likes to make it entertaining, and normally her fights are always pretty well. And I am a fan of both girls. I like Andrea Lee's style. Thai style, comes forward, makes it entertaining. She is a killer be killed style and perfect matchmaking for Antonina Shevchenko to truly have a breakthrough performance, because a win here skyrockets her. A loss here is devastating for her career, 36 years of age. Not saying she's going to be fighting her sister for the world title, but to become a top flight competition fighter in the flyweight division, she needs this win. I have her beating Andrea Lee by a unanimous decision. Shevchenko is very much at close money right now. You can find it down at minus 115. Those are near pick'ems odds for this fight here. I like the fight goes to decision, but at the minus 345, minus 370, not the best props to make. I like the idea of Shevchenko, straight up bet. Maybe play her on your parlays as well. And if you are looking for a prop and you just have to prop this one, Shevchenko plus 130. I like that prop bet a lot. The likelihood, for me at least, to see her getting Lee out of there, I don't think is extraordinarily likely. I would say it's very much unlikely. I think these girls work towards competitive action for 3 rounds and a unanimous decision win for Antonina Shevchenko, which will really skyrocket her in the right direction for her career here. Let's get to the next fight of the night. Jamie Pickett and Jordan Wright, the Beverly Hills Ninja. If you guys don't know Jordan Wright, he was on Dana White's Contender Series. In his last one, he defeated Ike Villanueva. You look back on that Contender Series performance, was quickly knocked out by Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. Was a decent fighter, but definitely good with his grappling. And in that fight, really showed some hands, putting Wright down and out quickly into the fight. But Jordan Wright manages to get a win, takes the fight against Ike Villanueva, and actually gets a win inside of the UFC. But then Joaquin Buckley put him down in vicious fashion. Now, this fight being at 185, Jordan Wright has taken his losses at 185, up at 205. I think the durability of Wright actually may be a decent amount better, but now at 185, Jamie Pickett's not a guy with chin issues. We saw him go the distance with Punale Soriano and with Tefan Chukwi. Chukwi is not necessarily the most technical and extremely high-level striker, but he's decent, and he's a beast. And Jamie Pickett sat in there for 3 rounds. Granted, Chukwi's last fight was not a great one. That was the loss to Junun Park. But at the end of the day, Jamie Pickett, I believe, has a superior striking skill set over Jordan Wright. And I also believe he's a lot more durable. He's grittier and he's faster, longer reach as well. Jordan Wright has just shown durability issues. I don't think he's going to be able to take a big punch from Jamie Pickett. I think Jamie Pickett by a knockout is going to be my bet in this one. And I will say second round knockout for this matchup here. That's what I like with the Beverly Hills Ninja and his karate style. If you saw him at weigh-ins, he got in that karate stance. Jamie Pickett's going to get the win, though, here. He wins this fight. Finish over Jordan Wright. I like the idea of a Jamie Pickett prop bet. Look at this. Money's coming down on Jordan Wright. He may be the favorite. This is a pick'ems fight, guys. This is pick'ems as they get, and Jordan Wright has durability issues. He's going to get finished in this fight. I think he gets knocked out in the second round. Could happen in the first, but I think second round is more realistic. Maybe don't throw Pickett by second round knockout. Don't give yourself as much of a risk, but plus 200 money for Jamie Pickett by KO. You can sprinkle that, or you just bet straight up on Jamie Pickett to win the fight. I think he beats a guy in Jordan Wright who's decent, but a little bit of durability is got to be something we note as an issue. And I have Jamie Pickett outstriking him, getting the finish. Second round knockout. Next fight on this prelim, Mike Grundy and Lando Vannata. I cannot wait to see this fight. I actually think it'll be pretty entertaining while it lasts. It's a fun stylistic matchup because you got Grundy on one side, who he's a Britishman. British fighters can strike, no matter if they're grappling specialists or wrestling. More is what they're known for. A guy like Mike Grundy can mix it up with the hands. Lando Vannata on the other side, very good kickboxing, has good wrestling in his own right. I feel like Lando, he's always in close fights. I mean, very rarely do you see his fights extremely one-sided, even in him losing. You look against Bobby Green, I mean, he didn't look great, but he didn't look awful. You look at the fight, Mark Giagos beat him. Win over Yancy Medeiros, I think that has some value. Very different matchup here, though, against Mike Grundy. His only loss was to Movsar Evloev. Lando also down. Let's talk about this. 145 pounds for him here. Does this new weight class bring light to Lando Vannata? He's a plus 100 underdog. I just can't confidently pick Lando Vannata. Weird shit happens when Lando fights. He's got draws in the UFC. I like Mike Grundy by a decision. I could see it being 29-28 in this matchup. I think Grundy threatens a bit with the wrestling ability, but the hands, I think, are going to be something that not necessarily pose a serious problem for Lando, because I see him going all 3 rounds, but it's going to pose enough of an issue that maybe he isn't able to get off with his absolutely crazy and chaotic style with the creativity that Lando sometimes brings to the table. I do think Lando will still have his moments, though, in this fight, and definitely will get his fair share of strikes in. He is younger at 29 than the 34-year-old Mike Grundy. They looked competitive at weigh-ins. As of right now, I just can't place my money confidently on Lando Vannata. I'd rather lean you towards Grundy. Don't love the Grundy bet. Minus 117, not terrible though. Fight goes to decision, I think, is a better bet at minus 160. And if you're feeling crazy, fight is a draw. Maybe you bet that, because Lando Vannata has fights that are close and maybe could be a draw. I'm not going to predict there's going to be a draw here, but maybe some little sprinkle on that could deliver you some big cash home. I'm going to pick, though, Mike Grundy, decision win, 2-1 in this fight. That's how I see it playing out. 2-1, unanimous decision, maybe even a split. But Mike Grundy does get the win here, and it's just slightly more effective than Lando in this fight. Let's get to the next fight of the night. Jacare Souza and André Muniz. Interesting how close the odds were earlier in the week. Let's see where they're sitting at now. Muniz plus 115. The odds were pick'ems earlier on. I mean, they kind of have to be. Muniz, what is he known for? He's a submission specialist, a guy with a ton of wins by submission. I mean, we have to acknowledge the guy's very good with his submission game, but that's not going to be effective here against a guy like Jacare. You're not tapping out Jacare Souza. I just don't see it happening. I mean, with Muniz, decent Muay Thai, but awkward punching is something that I think is a factor because Jacare tends to have some decent boxing skills, bit of power in the hands, has knockouts before. I necessarily am not going to say we're going to see this fight hit the ground. Like, I'm not going to say we absolutely won't, but I think there's a possibility we see a lot of striking between these two. And I think with a lot of striking, Jacare Souza has a clear advantage. Yes, reach advantage in favor of Muniz. Not a guy that fights from the outside extraordinarily well. Not a guy that kickboxes at an extremely high level. Jacare gets the win here. I like by knockout in this matchup. I think he can knock out André Muniz. He's 41 years of age. Don't close the book on Jacare just yet, especially in this matchup with André Muniz. I have Jacare winning it. If you want to prop it up and throw some money down, let's check out what we got here. Jacare straight up at minus 125. Not bad at all. You can maybe even parlay him too. Depends, though. The over 40 clause is going to be in there. Just warning that we have to throw out. If you can find Jacare at plus 500 by knockout, I actually love the idea of that bet. Jacare by submission is also extremely unlikely at plus 600. Does maybe he want to make a statement and choke Muniz out? I don't necessarily think so. This is MMA, and Muniz is a proven grappler, and I feel like Jacare gets it done with the hands. I got Jacare knockout. Maybe you prop up the plus 500 bet. If you want to bet the submission too at plus 600, you absolutely could. I think we see a finish. Jacare seems confident. He seems to have a fire lit under his ass, and I think he comes out here and puts on a real Jacare Souza performance and gets the knockout over André Muniz in this fight. Next fight, I believe, is the first one on the main card. Yes, it is. Main card. We have arrived at it. Make sure you guys smash that like button if you have not already. I appreciate all of you for tuning in, whether you're on live or on replay. If you are new to the channel, welcome in. MMA experts covering all things MMA. Bellator predictions coming out next week. Some big cards coming out throughout the entire month. We'll be covering all MMA outside of the UFC and, of course, UFC. All of the highest level stuff is covered here at MMA Experts. I appreciate you all for tuning in. Let's talk about this fight here. Shane Burgos versus Edson Barboza. I am super excited for this fight. If you guys didn't see, I did a detailed prediction and breakdown for this fight, and we really talked deep about it. I'll bring up some notes that I talked about there on the side of Shane Burgos, things you have to like. I mean, the guy's kickboxing is very good, and he really does rip the calf kicks extremely well. Pressure striker for sure, comes forward, and he likes to mix it up in the boxing range. That's kind of where he tends to be extremely comfortable, but I do get a little bit worrisome, especially against a guy as high level as Edson Barboza. The hands are low all the time for Shane Burgos, and that's why Josh Emmett hit him with so many big shots. Granted, he is a very big 145er, and his chin is going to hold up against pretty much everyone. Takes a very good punch, and he's a fast starter. But you look on the other side, Edson Barboza is an excellent striker, long time as a top flight lightweight, and his kickboxing skill set is nearly unmatched. Devastating kicks to the legs, to the body, spinning back kicks. And he's a guy, especially now at 145, he seems very patient and he looks for his openings. He doesn't necessarily ever just come forward aggressively and chaotically, whereas Burgos will do that. He will create the opening by putting the pressure on the opponent. I think you're going to see Edson probably fighting a bit more off the back foot here. And I think Edson Barboza gets a hard-fought win in an action-packed fight over Shane Burgos. Yes, I will acknowledge this. Edson Barboza could be hit inside and hurt by Shane Burgos, but it could go the other way. Look for Edson maybe to also throw in a wheel kick out there. If Burgos overextends a bit or leaves himself open, I think there's going to be opportunities for Barboza to throw some potential true finishers out there. And I think he's definitely going to be looking for his first finish, even though I still see decision here. I think he's going to fight smart at plus 140. I like Edson Barboza a ton at plus 140, plus 110, 130. I mean, there's definitely some decent value in a straight Barboza bet without propping him up here. If you want to prop up Barboza, I think low-key, the prop here could be a big risk because Barboza just needs one strike and could get a knockout over a guy as high level as Shane Burgos. Plus 435 for a knockout for Barboza. Barboza wins by a decision. Plus 270. I don't mind that. Don't love it. If we go to fight goes to decision, minus 155. So there's some expectation that it will. If you like Burgos on the other side, maybe you prop up Burgos by knockout at the plus 365 to plus 400 range. Maybe could work for you if you want to also do over 2.5 at minus 172. But I don't love it because I think with two high-level strikers, when the cage door closes, anything could really happen, but I do feel Barboza's more technically sound, especially from the outside. And I felt like Shane Burgos makes some mistakes that I feel Barboza will capitalize on, but Burgos' absolute tenacity and toughness is going to lead him to go the 3 rounds. I think it's not impossible for Barboza to get the finish here, but I wouldn't bet really too much down on it. I'd sprinkle the bet, but I wouldn't throw down crazy money on Barboza getting a knockout if you're looking at that prop bet. But I do think he can put Shane Burgos out, and I'm telling you guys, watch for some spinning stuff from Edson Barboza. I think he's going to look to be entertaining, and Burgos, being as action-packed of a fighter as he is, definitely some possibility for an Edson Barboza emphatic knockout. What a fight, though. I am so excited for that matchup. High-level stuff without an absolute doubt here. Now, let's talk about this fight. Katlyn Chookagian versus Viviane Araujo. This fight is a tricky one because, I mean, if you look at the side of Chookagian, has been the female gatekeeper. She protects the throne of Valentina. The next girl in line, she'll beat whoever they are. And if they beat Katlyn Chookagian, you're fighting for a world title. We saw with Andrade, and then obviously her loss to Valentina. But she's beaten Shevchenko's sister, Antonina. She beat Cynthia Calvillo, who's supposed to be the next challenger. Now, can she get rid of this next supposed challenger? Because if Araujo wins, she's very close to that title shot. Has it lost to Jessica Ai a year and 4 months ago? It's a forgivable defeat. She's improved since then. Beat Roxanne in the last one 3 months ago. Stylistically, there's things to like definitely about both girls. You look on the side of Chookagian, rangy striker who likes to throw a lot of straight punches and front kicks. And I mean, she is the female gatekeeper. I mean, she has very good grappling skills. So if you're weak anywhere, she can kind of capitalize. You look at Calvillo, was weak with the striking. She could not deal with Chookagian with the grappling exchange. It didn't get her down. Looking back on that fight, I can't remember off the top of my head how many times Calvillo even shot, but she was simply outmatched in the striking department. Araujo on the other side poses something different, though. She's a very athletic girl who's fast and does have a ton of movement. Her whole style is like a pep in the step style, constantly bouncing and moving. Her striking is good. Her grappling is good. I do acknowledge Katlyn Chookagian is going to be a very stern and difficult test for Viviane Araujo. But as of right now, after seeing them face off, I like Araujo in this fight. I think she's going to win a very competitive and hard-fought decision, and with this victory, it's title shot. So this is a huge moment for her. I believe she knows that, and I believe she's going to beat Katlyn Chookagian in this fight. Araujo, decision here, competitive decision, but I'm going to give the warning again. It's women's MMA, and crazy shit happens in women's MMA, so you could think you have an absolute lock, and it goes to absolute trash here. Let's look at some props to play in this one. Fight goes to decision. It's not even worth betting on. If you want to throw Araujo wins by a decision, if that's the side that you're on and what you're looking at, plus 220. If you like Chookagian to win by a decision, it's plus 105, maybe minus 105. It's going to be around that range. I like Araujo decision. That's my personal pick. I'm going to give you the women's MMA warning because women's MMA crazy stuff just does happen. And Katlyn Chookagian is a very difficult test for Araujo. No matter how good Araujo can look in tape, when she gets inside of the octagon with Katlyn Chookagian, the whole game may go to shit because Chookagian could simply just be way too skilled for her. And I mean, high-level experience, to me, is a serious factor. And Katlyn Chookagian has had the highest of level of it. But still, I'm riding Araujo the dog in this one. Don't think I'm telling you no. Viviane Araujo, she wins this fight at plus 117. It's not my highest confidence dog pick of the week by any means, but I'm still going to be riding with Araujo here. Do I say better, sprinkler, bet her intelligently? It's women's MMA, so be very cautious here. But I'm still riding Viviane Araujo. Let's get to the next one, and there's something we really got to talk about. I really did not like how Rogerio Bontorin looked. He came in 2 pounds overweight. This guy normally fights at 25. I mean, has fought against some of the top 25ers. Let's quickly look because I'm 99.9% sure this one was at 25 at the least. Did he make weight? It says, yeah, 126. He fought Ray Borg at 25. He's fought in all his fights at 25. And now you miss a fight at 135. You miss weight. I was talking about, hey, maybe we'll bet Bontorin. We talked about it earlier on in the week. If you guys tuned into any of the other videos, this is one of the fights where I really wanted to see them face off before I gave my final pick. Like, obviously, I picked Bontorin earlier in the week, but I said it's really dependent on how he looks on the scale. And I think all of you can probably agree. He had a bit of pudge on the belly. Like, he did not by any means look in incredible shape for this fight. And that seriously concerns me going in here, taking on an extraordinarily difficult test. Guys, shout out to everybody in the live chat. I'm going to be honest with you. My messages were not coming through on the screen here. So I'm actually just pulling it up on my phone right now. So shout out everybody inside of the live chat. Thank you all for being here. Smash that like button. I will do my best to catch up. And yeah, I'm going to agree with Thomas Howard. He just said Bontorin looked awful at weigh-ins. And he's not getting my money. I am not betting down on Bontorin. I was very, very much considering it. We talked about it earlier on in the week. We were really like, hey, Bontorin looks good. He looks like stylistically could be a stern test. No, do not place your money down on a guy who goes up a weight class, misses weight by 2 pounds. I fear he's not training properly. And by that, I cannot pick a man who's missing weight, a weight class above his, probably not training properly, probably not putting it all in. No way. Going to switch to the Schnell decision. I don't know. It might be weight. Bontorin might get it done, and it is what it is. But by no means can I put my faith behind a guy that looks like he has a little bit of a gut. I mean, he's a 25er missing weight at 35. That's extremely concerning. I think Matt Schnell should work towards a decision win over Rogerio Bontorin. Gonna flip the pick here. Unfortunately, I had a lot of excitement and value picking the dog in Bontorin, but I just can't do so. And I think it would be a disservice to myself and even a disrespect against Matt Schnell, who came in looking chiseled. Matt Schnell looked incredible on the scale. You like the no distance? Honestly, Bontorin might get stopped. You are right. Plus 145 Bontorin, minus 155 Schnell. At this point, I love a Schnell parlay pickup, seeing how they faced off against one another. And then looking at some of the other props, Schnell by a knockout, plus 450. Schnell's got power in the hands. Schnell has serious power in the hands. I think that's very possible. And yeah, listen to our boy in the live chat, David Savant. Let's get 4 more likes up in here. I appreciate all of you for tuning in. I apologize for not getting at this live chat earlier. I just realized we had a little glitch. So quickly, let me shout you guys out. King Dizzle, what is up? Los, how you doing, my guy? Seaside, good to see you in here. K, what is up? DG9, how you doing? David Zhao, what is up, my guy? Appreciate you telling everybody smash the likes. Robot Chicken Wings, what's up? Messiah94, how you doing? Get Darce Choked, shout out to you, my guy. You're a wild man wanting to wear that shirt to the pub. Thomas Howard, what's up, my guy? Yeah, Thomas Howard, I am on the lock tonight. I'm going to be on MMA Lock of the Night tonight. Literally going to be on it in about 20 minutes, so we don't have too much time here to talk, but just had to give out my weigh-in recap. I will be with the Lock of the Night guys tonight. But shout out to everybody in the live chat. If I didn't get to you, leave another comment, and I'll give you that shout. Overall, though, looking forward to the action in store for us in this fight. But man, it's hard to go with Rogerio Bontorin looking as bad as he did at weigh-ins. I was just so disappointed to see him miss weight. No way he's getting my money. Let's be intelligent and let's skip Rogerio Bontorin because I have lost faith in the man. Matt Schnell gets the win in this one. He could get a knockout or a decision. Gonna ride decision, but I could probably see a knockout, and maybe you want to prop up the knockout because Schnell has power in the hands and he's a proven finisher. You almost put Pantoja out. Plus 450. Some value there. Schnell wins by a decision. Plus 225. Maybe sprinkle both. Bet your boy Schnell straight up or put him on those parlays. I'm going Matt Schnell. I am very excited to see Matt Schnell get it done here because, man, Bontorin let me down, guys. No way we can bet on that man. But let's talk about this co-main event because it was another fighter that we discussed a lot about. What are they going to look like at the weigh-ins? And I think you can all agree, Tony Ferguson looked very good on the scales. He also mentally seems to be in an incredible place, spitting very funny trash talk at everyone on the stage besides his boy Charles Oliveira. They've become best friends all of a sudden. I got to be honest with you guys. Beneil Dariush is a very good fighter. Southpaw, tricky style, good wrestling, has power in the hands. He likes to fight and he'll sit in the pocket and come inside. I feel like Tony Ferguson is a different breed. You're not going to finish Tony Ferguson easily. I mean, the guy's willing to let his arms snap. He's a crazy man. His style matches up fairly well against Beneil. I think technically Beneil may be better as far as the striking goes and even as far as the wrestling goes. Ferguson's defense should hold up just fine. Ferguson is awkward and he's going to be in your face. It's going to be constant pressure. I am going to ride Tony Ferguson knockout over Beneil Dariush. I think he stops him in the second round. That is my pick for this fight. I totally acknowledge that you guys may totally disagree and say, no way. I respect that, but I think Tony Ferguson gets it done over Beneil Dariush in this one, and I think he gets the finish over a very skilled Beneil. I mean, Beneil's good. I like Beneil a lot. He's a great man, family man, having his first kid, but Tony Ferguson is a different animal, and he seems mentally poised to bounce back with an absolute vengeance, and that's why I have him winning the fight. Let's check out Ferguson by knockout, plus 520. There's a lot of value in that prop, guys. Ferguson by knockout, over a round and a half, minus 300, over 2.5, minus 167. Dariush wins inside the distance, plus 233 if you like him. Ferguson inside the distance, which I like a lot because he could potentially get a submission if he hurts Dariush, plus 375. So I think if you're going to prop up this one and you like my boy T Ferg, and if you don't, totally understandable. Dariush is a stern test for him and tough stylistic matchup. Plus 520 Ferguson. Plus 375, Ferguson inside the distance. And for Ferguson to win by a submission, let me find that as well. Plus 1,200 you can find it up at. So maybe a sprinkle knockout and submission, or you just play the inside the distance prop. Either way, I'm riding with the dog, Tony Ferguson. I will call, of course, the over 35 clause. Got to give you guys the warning and say Beneil Dariush is a damn stern test. But I'm riding with my boy Tony Ferguson to win this bout, and I think he gets it done inside of the distance here. Knockout over Beneil Dariush. Let's talk about this main event. But before we do, smash the like button, guys. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. If you are new here, subscribe to the channel. In about 15 minutes, because we'll be out of here probably in the next 5, you guys can catch me on MMA Lock of the Nights channel. I will be doing the full card post weigh-in show with him. Should be a lot of fun. Cannot wait to officially meet him, talk it out, and be on an excellent MMA podcast and prediction show. So that should be a lot of fun. But let's talk about this main event. Shout out to everybody watching live. Shout out to everybody watching on replay. Smash the likes. 85 likes is the goal. I believe we'll do it. I believe in you guys. Let's first talk Do Bronx, Charles Oliveira. We did a detailed prediction for this one. So if you guys are looking for that detailed predictions, check it out on the channel. We took it deep, and we talked about a lot of things. They both do well. I mean, striking-wise, Charles Oliveira is very good. Very good range management and straight punches. His kicks are not typical. The guy will throw wheel kicks, jumping kicks, and he does rip those low kicks, which could be a potential problem for Chandler, because you look at Chandler's style, he likes to reach at low and body kicks. If Oliveira could time one properly, could maybe land a head kick on Michael Chandler and put him down. But still, Chandler on the other side, athletic specimen, extremely explosive, one of the best guys at getting inside of the pocket, and he has real knockout power in the hands. I feel as though we're going to see this fight play out in the favor of Chandler, but if it were to go Oliveira's way, it would be by Oliveira slowly working down that body, working towards fatiguing Chandler and then submitting him. But that's not how I see this playing out. I think Michael Chandler needs one big shot. I think he's going to close distance, get inside. I think they'll mix it up a bit. I think Oliveira's going to get touched by a few and feel the power. That will then make him more defensive, which will actually advantage Michael Chandler even more. Chandler closes distance, comes inside. He gets the knockout. I think it's probably a straight right down the line, but I could also see the wide left hook that he did against Dan Hooker. He sets him up with body shots. He makes you think low, and then he goes high. Gotta love the style of Michael Chandler. Love the submission ace, and honestly, highly improved striker, Charles Oliveira too. But I gotta ride Chandler knockout, and I think he does get it done in a round here. I think 4 minutes or less is going to be my pick. The longer it goes, I actually think that's better for Oliveira, and it starts to favor him. If we see it going 3, if you're live betting, maybe you throw down on Oliveira. Let's see how Chandler looks. Because he looks for the finish at this point, especially after 2.5, 3 rounds. I'm not saying he's going to be gassed and fatigued, but definitely won't be fresh. And I feel like with a little fatigue in him, that's where Oliveira can get his game going. He needs to avoid the big strikes early, but I think Chandler will be too much. I think he lands one. Underdog Michael Chandler plus 120. He gets it done with the hands here. I like Michael Chandler in the first round by knockout. If you are going to bet Michael Chandler, you can prop him up by knockout around plus 175, plus 160, plus 225. You can find it at a number of different prices. If you like Oliveira on the other side by submission, you can find it around plus 195, 75, plus 200, in that range generally. Chandler by submission at plus 1,500. That's probably not happening. I'd be shocked if that happened. Chandler wins inside the distance, plus 165. Don't love it. Chandler wins in round one, plus 450, plus 420. Maybe you want to bet Chandler in round one if you're feeling like the real Mystic Mac. Chandler wins by a knockout in round one, plus 600. Maybe sprinkle just a little bit on it because his last three are all knockouts, and he hasn't had a fight go past, or he hasn't even gone to the 3-minute mark. He's been 259 or less for his last three fights. Not every one of those opponents were the best of the best. Sidney Outlaw, looking at Benson Henderson as well, who's a former champ, so he's very high level, but granted, not in his relative prime. And against Dan Hooker, put him out quick. I like the odds of Michael Chandler first round knockout at plus 600. I will be personally sprinkling it. I will also be playing the knockout prop bet, and I will also be betting Michael Chandler straight at the plus 120, ranging around that price tag. I have him beating Charles Oliveira and becoming the world champion. Should be some excellent action. I will be checking up on the live chat. Just have a few moments left up in here. Let's check out some potential parlays to play. If you guys have some parlay ideas you want to throw at me, absolutely do so. If you're looking for Michael Chandler, I am going to personally play him on my parlay. I like Chandler, and now seeing how Schnell looked, I like a Chandler-Schnell. Double it up. Plus 262. Definitely some value in that one. Could also, if you're feeling women's MMA, Shevchenko plus 311. If you're seeing what I'm seeing, you could also put Jamie Pickett on there. That brings you to plus 334. If you're looking to really go hard and bet yourself a big parlay and really look for a chunk of the pie, you want to make some serious dough this week, you want to take a little higher risk, Schnell at minus 155 brings you to plus 162. And then also maybe you put Pickett on there, who might even be found as a slight underdog. You're at plus 613 now. Is there another name that I like? Tucker Lutz, maybe, but unproven in the UFC, does bring you to plus 1250. So higher risk, though, because it's an unproven guy inside of the UFC. Christos Giagos, grappling game that I think poses a threat for Soriano, plus 985. If you want to skip on Giagos, though, I will lean you in the direction, even if he's older, and I'm going to throw the older clause, I feel like Cachoeira Souza just matches up extremely well against Muniz. This is a potential 4-fight parlay to play, plus 1184. If you're looking to more parlay up some different things, maybe you're looking to parlay up inside the distance. Maybe you go Chandler, and maybe you go for the Chookagian Araujo fight. What's the fight goes to decision? Maybe you go that, but at at minus 300 money, I don't love it. I'm loving Schnell on the parlay. Let's see if there's anything. I really feel like if you don't want to bet Shevchenko straight, fight goes to decision. Again, it's another minus 3. I like Shevchenko, though, by decision. Plus 577. I like this parlay a lot right now, especially seeing how Bontarin looked at weigh-ins. Chandler, Schnell, Shevchenko, lots of potential here. Yeah, honestly, Thomas Howard said something. He said, careful on the parlays this week. You can go straight on a lot of these. I personally like the idea of some straights. I will lean you towards 2 or 3 fight parlays if you're looking to play some. If you're usually going for the 4 or 5s, you're a wild man anyways, but this week is probably one of the harder weeks to do so. Obviously, some value if you're looking to just sprinkle something, and then there's some huge upside, more of a lottery ticket type pick. But there's definitely some options. Overall, should be a pretty exciting card. I appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. Make sure that you smash the like button. I will be on MMA Lock of the Night. If you're watching live, I'll probably be on there in about 10 minutes. Thank you all so much for being here, whether you're watching live or on replay. Smash that like button. Goal is 85 likes. Thank you all so much for your support of the channel. Love you guys, and I will see you all in the next video.